Welcome to Cinema Surprise, presented by the Penny Bloom Podcast, where every week we celebrate film, and one of us never knows what's coming next. Hello, everybody, and welcome in to Cinema Surprise, presented by the Penny Bloom Podcast. Today, we continue with Joseph's final pick of Season 1, and this one is The Banshees of Inisherin. It was released on November 4th, 2022, written and directed by Martin McDonagh. I am Colton Robertson. I'm joined by Joseph George. What's up, homie?
Oh, what up, what up? Always a pleasure to be here.
Oh, and it's always a pleasure to have you, and we got a goodie on the docket today. What about this intrigued you to the point where it felt like this was something you wanted to cover?
Well, I knew I wanted something modern. I wanted something 20s to end on after going with Passion of Joan of Arc for the pick before this. So I kind of wanted to bring it back, and there were just kind of three movies in mind that I've just been itching to see. I don't know, mostly from your recommendation. You've seen all three of these, and I've heard good things from them. I've all three of the movies, and between them, one felt like we were covering too many movies that were sort of like it, I guess, and then the other just felt like I don't know. The Northman was the other option, and I actually was really close to going with The Northman, but it felt like, I don't know why, this felt like it was going to be more emotional than The Northman. I don't know if I'm correct in that or not. That this was just more
I mean, it's just much more grounded. It's just much more personal.
Much more,
And there's The Northman's got a grandiosity to it that's really cool. And it does.
Yeah.
I don't want to downplay its emotion. It's a moving movie, but there's something about this that just, I mean, it hits me like a fucking truck. How did your first watch of it go?
Oh man, I mean, I had no prior knowledge of like anything, any story at all. So I'm going in completely blind, and I don't know. I found myself kind of laughing at times, and I'm like, I don't know, like, it's weird. I kind of felt weird at first. I'm like, should I be laughing? You know, I'm like, it felt kind of wrong at first, but then no, like there's clearly some comedy in there, very dark.
Oh yeah.
But then man, the emotional side, the story, whenever it starts getting real, and just Colin Farrell, like just his like reactions that he has of like when he never like truly. I mean, he breaks once or twice, I feel like actually cries, but like he has these kind of like internal cries whenever he hears just something that's like, oh, like holy fuck, like shit, and he just kind of has this. His acting, I don't know, he was
Colin Farrell's supreme in this movie. The 2023 Oscars. I love Everything Everywhere All at Once, and I'm so glad it won Best Picture. I'm very glad it won Best Director. I'm very glad it won Best Actress, and I'm very glad it won Best Supporting Actor. However, Barry Keoghan and Brendan Gleeson were both nominated in Supporting. Colin Farrell was nominated in Best Actor and didn't win, which is absolutely insane.
Dang.
And Carrie Condon should have won Best Supporting Actress. I mean, I'll forever be pissed that it was Jamie Lee Curtis for Everything Everywhere All at Once that won.
She didn't even win in her own movie.
I'm like, if you're going to take someone from the movie, it should be Stephanie Hsu. And then I don't think either of them are as good as Carrie Condon is in this movie. So like, I find her to be utterly fantastic, and I find the performances across the board are so damn good, man. I absolutely love it, and Colin Farrell did take the cake for me. He is my favorite performance. It's just that you're just centered on him so much. It's it's the world circling around him a bit, and watching him devolve in a way from the nice, sweet guy and getting torn down a peg into the abyss that his friend is experiencing. And it's sad. It's devastating, man.
Man, yeah, I had no idea. This would have been a terrible movie to end. Like, see, this project. It would have been bad. Like, I had no clue what to expect. It felt like a darker, grimmer movie, and I don't like, but I didn't expect that. I don't know, just
It's more
to go with this, but
melancholy than it is grim. Like it is. It's
yeah,
just.
it's just,
And they bring up a lot of what the feeling of the movie is in the movie, like it's a slow burn. It is a slow movie. That's because we're on an isolated island where not much happens. It's dull, You're all boring. You're all feckin' boring, as Carrie Condon says. I absolutely love that though. I think that it gives the movie a really, really nice, poignant touch that makes you really connect with specifically Podrick and grow to love Shaban.
Just polar opposites from the Podrick. I know.
Yeah.
Just
right.
I don't know, just a funny non-connection whatsoever to the Game of Thrones Podrick, but
right.
No, I mean I at first I thought he would be the clear character choice, but then he does make some decisions later on that it is like, yo, dude, come on, man, and he kind of, I feel like he kind of reacted to like whenever he told that one violin student to go home, and your dad got hit by a bread van or
a bread van.
A bread van.
How could this happen?
That's how my
well, it's
mom
not that
died.
uncommon. Yeah, dude. Like,
no, it's how we got my mom, and then like I don't know, Podrick in that moment, he even was kind of like, oh shit, like he even kind of realized it. But whenever he told Dominic about it, and then Dom was just kind of like, oh dude, like what the fuck, man, I thought you were cool. Fuck you, I'm out of here. This sucks now, and he's sitting there like, yeah, this is the new me. And he grabs the bottle, takes another drink, and everything, and it's just, I guess his character arc is good, but there's no other. I don't know. How do you pronounce her name?
Shaban.
Okay, in the movie I heard it, but seeing it now, just I don't know. I was bound to get it wrong if I tried.
Right.
But no, Carrie Condon. I feel like she just kind of took. She's the most likable character in the movie for sure. She's just kind of a lonely sister who's supporting her brother, and then like all she does is read, I guess, and like life out there, it's, man, pretty simple living, you got the pub, it's where everyone goes. I get, every day you're expected.
Every day.
Yeah, it's expected to go have a beer. That's crazy. But I guess, yeah, what else are you gonna do? You got your animals to take care of. You got
pretty self-sufficient community. They can all just kind of everybody's got their thing. They have what they're doing, and they do that thing.
Yeah. I mean, what do they do? I mean, it didn't really seem like they were or like that they were farming, or that they. Yeah, I guess Podrick had a horse. Had a goat, or not a goat, a donkey. I feel like they might have had a goat. I don't know. That was one of my shot contenders. Was just this random, the goat. I mean, staring down the pipe of the lens, and that I feel like that was just kind of like a National Geographic moment there. That was just kind of, that goat was a little too conscious. I don't know. Like that was just a little. Right. So I don't know, but it looked beautiful. Like it was looking off to the right. It looks down the pipe, and then it looks left. Like I mean, and then the landscape looking beautiful behind it, and
gorgeous place, man. I mean, holy shit!
It's like a visual cheat code to film here. I mean, everything looks good. In the shot box, I put any landscape shot. I mean, dude. I loved the aerial, like whenever the land's all divided up and you see just all the lines, and the cliff like overlooking the ocean is always beautiful. And then just I don't know, everything outside just looked great. But I think if I do have to pick a shot, one with meaning that did look good as well, I think, is just whenever Combs' house is on fire, and he is sitting in there at the time, and just looking forward.
Colm. Yeah.
He's thought he's made up his mind, and you have Podrick staring through the window, looking at him, and just that, I don't know, that moment there. That's a man. What I wish we could have seen their friendship before, like a little bit. I don't know. We got only after the change. I don't know, after Coleman.
I think I that's what's funny is it was probably pretty unremarkable. Just kind of the way that everything else on this island was, like it's all just day to day, sitting around talking. Like what we saw with him and Dominic is probably pretty similar to what we would have saw for a beforehand, No, and I think there's also an interesting thing that I think this is the third time I've watched this movie, and I've never clocked it. It appears that there's about the same age gap between him and what's Brendan Gleeson's character's name? Colm.
Oh.
The Colm to Podrick is the same age gap as Podrick to Dominic, or just about roughly in that range, So there is an interesting idea where none of them have contemporaries. None of them feel like they have someone who's on their level. Everybody feels like they're on their own plane. They're all so lonely. They all live in their own world, even though it is as tight-knit a place as you could possibly live in.
Am I reading it correctly? Is Death in the movie the old lady?
The old lady?
Like with the stick with the hook? Like, is that just Death? Like or a Bene Gesserit?
Yeah, right. I think it's what she represents in general. She's a bad omen, but like I do think she is a character who exists in her own
just
right.
Normal. She's just, the shop lady. She was at the shop too, commonly, and that was an interesting place, where you never give any news. You suck, because you give no news. Like, just tell us anything, and then he gives some news. He tries.
Yeah, some fucking tea, which I don't know, sounds like news to me. This guy beats his fucking kid, and she's like, "That's not news. That kid deserves it." And you're like, "Jesus Christ, lady!"
It's known. That's just horrible to hear about. Whatever, dude. Terrible news. You're horrible at this. I mean, he was sitting on the fact that like his lifelong friend cut off his finger because he talked to him. I mean, he could have. I mean, he could have dropped that one, and that would have been some good news probably for them.
Yeah,
but
that'd have been some interesting tea. But yeah, no, like there's a lot of really interesting stuff going on in this movie for how slow and just thoughtful it is. I really, really appreciate there was a tweet that went viral a couple weeks ago, and they were getting fucking flamed, which was that it was like, what has your life experience taught you? And then someone quote tweeted it and said, there is no benefit to being a good person. Unfortunately, there is no benefit to being a good person. And it prompted, interesting discussion and interesting response. I wholeheartedly disagree, but there's an interesting idea that I think this movie plays with that a lot. Colm does this whole thing throughout the movie where he doesn't think there is a benefit to he doesn't think there's a benefit to being a good person. You won't be remembered. There's a legacy thing. And I think that plays back into the age difference between Colm and Podrick. He's much more worried about these things than Podrick is because he's probably got 20 years on him, 10, 15 years on him at least.
Yeah, I think he says like 12. He's like, in 12 years, whenever I'm gone, he's like, he just expects 12 years. He's done the math, I guess. But yeah, just two very, very different opposing outlooks or looks on life. The guy who's nearing the end, I guess, and he just wants to be remembered like Mozart and whatever. You think this was like a grand plan, because like Mozart and Beethoven, they I don't know, some of them they always have something, where they're not normal. There's something unique about them. Van Gogh, I don't know, had an ear cut off. It's like maybe this is his way of, he
I think initially, the first one is like, he's one of the great, like, he'll be remembered as one of the great fiddle players, one of the fiddle player from Inisherin who had 4 fingers on one hand, like that's, and then I think beyond that, he thought Podrick was too nice to put him in that position. He thought Podrick was too nice to talk to him again. And he thought that Podrick would be too worried about him to make him lose his other 4 fingers.
I see. So that does make sense. He thought after the first finger he'd truly be afraid and never come back, so he would be on his own and then have his music renaissance, or whatever. Okay. Wow.
At least I think there's a win-win for him. I think that there's either that, he has the ability to then focus on music. There is nothing else left for him. He doesn't have his buddy who distracts him for hours out of the day. He gets to put his head down, record music, go to the pub, or write music, go to the pub, and perform it with his boys. And then if not, the weight of expectation is lifted from his shoulders. He knows he has this ability. He knows he has this talent. And if he doesn't have the fingers on his hand to play the fiddle, it's no longer expected of him to do anything with it. And he doesn't impose that as a part of his self-worth.
But homie's no fingers, he's still there. Acting
he's still rocking it. He's still conducting,
he's he's not all there. I feel like at a certain point.
No. Like he's mentally ill. You don't cut off your fingers without being mentally ill.
Yeah, the dog was more mentally stable than him.
Right.
That. I mean, the animals
dragging away the shears. Yeah, that was so cute. Man.
That was so funny, and I feel like even the donkey too was like,
oh, Jenny,
just like coming up to him, like when he was sad. I don't know, like just walking up to him slow, and then like it made him smile. I don't like it's just the animals, and then oh come on, I didn't even think of that as a possibility that like. Just choking on his fingers, that he chucked at the house, like, and that was just like, no. And then having to watch a man, like just go through that sucked.
Him sitting in the kitchen with Jenny dead on his lap was absolutely devastating.
Like, what the fuck?
The cow looking through the window.
What the fuck?
It's,
man.
No, man, that shit tore me apart.
Oh.
So like, there's a lot of this movie that makes me overwhelmingly sad. And it's mostly because it's not particularly nihilist, I don't think, the movie itself. I think that it has a great deal of, like it believes in the power of love and niceties and cherishing the people you're with. And it shows the sway you have over the people you love and that love you, Yeah,
Calm made up this rule out of nowhere. He was like, I'm bored. I just don't like you anymore. Whatever, I'm going to cut off my fingers and... if it is some grand plan for music, whatever. If not, he's just making it up. It's a made-up rule. And, like, they pass each other on the road, and now he has to act differently because of this made-up rule. And now he's cutting off his finger because of this, and now he has no fingers. And now, like, all because of what? Like, things were going great before. And I love that take on, like, there's zero benefit to being a good person. It's like, it is actually medically... I feel like beneficial. Like if you aren't angry all the time, you are just producing more stress chemicals, and that's just literally harder on your body. And so if you're
not
happier,
to mention that there is yes, technically, there's probably not a material benefit to being a good person. In fact, there's probably more material benefit in being a bad person. However, that's not what being a good person is for, dipshit. What the fuck is wrong with you?
We also made money up. Money's fake as well.
Yeah, right.
So that's not even really real.
Made up by bad people.
And I don't know. That is kind of nuts. That I guess. I don't know. Maybe money is that drilled into people's brains, where that is the only thing that matters at the end of the day to people. But like, I don't know. At least I am money is I recognize it as necessary and like I need it for the things that I want to do in the world that I live in, but if I could, I wish I could just hit a big red button and make it all go away.
Right.
But I mean, I understand what that would start, but
yeah, no, and that's what's interesting about Column 2 is that there's not a material motive here either. It is all very metaphysical. It is all very, legacy, memory, how he will
what
be
have
remembered.
I done? Yeah,
Yeah.
He's having those thoughts, which I guess probably happens to everybody at one point in their life.
It's a midlife crisis traditionally.
But man, to go this hard is kind of crazy. To go this hard down I don't even know, not really a rabbit hole, just a freaking downward spiral. So I don't know, just yeah, I don't know. It was just sad to watch because like you just had to guess that like, even if it was unremarkable and they were just at the pub talking before, that's what he was still doing afterwards. Like he still went to the pub every day. And they still were in the same room every day. They were just at different tables now, and he's just talking to new people. Oh, your new friend is a cop who beats his kid. Great company now that you're surrounded with. And like I guess the students that were music students, I mean they're probably chill. I don't know. They probably doing nothing wrong. But now like they're surrounded by a worse person, So it's like it is like that, the no benefit to being good. But it's like it causes bad all around. There's this cascading effect, and
one bad apple spoils the bunch. That is that's how these things work, And I think that there's a like when it comes to him deciding to cut his fingers off, I mentioned earlier that perhaps he thought Podrick was too nice to risk it. There is also the idea that perhaps he knew Podrick wouldn't be able to follow it.
That he knew that he'd come back no matter what, and he would lose all of his fingers.
Yeah, and that's like, and therein this weight of I really think that the pressure of legacy and memory weighed Colm down so hard that he tried to find a way out of it.
I see.
Essentially.
And have an excuse to be like, well, the only thing I had, the only talent I did have was music, and now, obviously, I can't play the fiddle, so what am I going to do? My life is over. And
that's why at the end of the movie, whenever his house has been burned and he's ready to drop it. He's ready to go, I suppose we're even then, Like, I guess this is good. And it shows how fucking terrible Colm's midlife crisis mistake of a fucking week totally destroyed Podrick. And
a very it feels wrong to call him a simple man, but I think that's the point, is that he is just nice.
Very simple.
He is just a nice guy, and smart. I don't know. I love how all like every time he asks someone like, "Oh, do you think I'm dull?" They're like, "No, man. Like, oh, come on. Like, we love you. Like, you're great. We're on your side." And it's like, oh man, it's like that's so like it's just overall sad, just to watch. But.
Yeah, it all like that's why the line that Siobhan delivers to Colm and his place later on in the movie, where she's like, "You're all boring. You're all feckin' boring." Like it's great. It's perfect because they are all fucking boring. You're like you just mentioned a little bit ago about how he goes to the pub and ends up doing the same fucking thing he was doing every day anyway, and everybody else is doing the same fucking thing they were doing all the time. He's playing music a little bit more at the pub, but there was nothing that was stopping him from doing that before.
Yeah. What if he just says, "Hey, Podrick, I want to start making music. What do you think about that?" There you go. There's just another option. I don't know. There's one option to think of.
That's why one of my favorite lines and one of the funniest lines in the fucking movie was delivered by Colin Farrell, where he says, Colin goes, "You've left me with no options," and he goes, "You've got a lot of options. Why is cutting off your fingers the first port to call?"
Really, man?
What?
I loved the his. I think this is. Yeah, it is just the best scene of the movie. I was trying to find another one, but I mean, it's Colin Farrell's. I think like one of the best performances that he gives right here, and perfect that his sister walks in at the perfect time of the line delivery too.
Siobhan is nice.
Yeah, like that
I'll
whole
remember
monologue.
her.
Oh my
Yeah,
god,
dude, that's my favorite scene, and it has my favorite line, and it's because of Colin Farrell who gets my performance. So it's just like that is one of my favorite scenes in like any movie because it also comes with the central thesis of the film, the actual positive, good side of this movie. You know, like and I just absolutely adore it, and it's absolutely heart-wrenching whenever Colin Farrell goes, "Oh God, maybe you never used to be." Whenever he says that, it just fucking tears me apart.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's so many layers to that one. Like it's whenever like he's saying that, you know, my mom, my dad, whatever, and then my sister, you know, whenever she's right there too. That's one. I'm like, all right, fuck, you know, like shit. This is it's already getting there, and then he gets there. Like man. I mean, yeah, it's kind of undeniably the scene, and I didn't know. I think this line, it comes right before he goes kind of off, like before he's really going off. But it might be before. I'm not sure. But he says, I don't give a fuck about Mozart or Beethoven. I don't know how he says Beethoven. I mean, he says it wrong.
Right.
But then he says, any of them strange name fackers. I love just how they say fuck and facker. Facker.
Feck.
And he just goes, I'm Podrig. What's his last name? Syllabun. Yeah. And I'm nice. And that's kind of just his mic drop.
And I'm nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's so good. It's so good. Well, and it's just one of those perfect contrasting moments where it really hammers home that Colin is being completely and utterly irrational. Because this is still before he cuts off his finger too.
Yeah.
And because it's when he goes back to apologize the next day that he ends up cutting off a finger. This interaction wasn't worth cutting off the finger to him. He was like, whenever he's like, you know, that was the most interesting he's been in years. I think I like him again. You know, like
that's true. That's true. And I guess he, you know, Colm did start that kind of, you know. Podrick walked over and was talking to the cop right next to him, you know, and using him to talk.
There's only three things I don't like: policemen,
good job,
chubby fucking fiddle players.
Yeah. And oh man,
there was a third thing. I can't remember what. I gotta start over. Policeman. You know?
Yeah. Couldn't even remember the second one the second time. The police had to remind him of it. Yeah,
points at his boy. Yeah,
he was going well. He was going well at first. I wonder what that third thing was. Did he ever get to it, or was it?
No, he never.
I don't think he ever got to it. Yeah, but
no, but goddamn, man, like I break every time he goes, "Oh God, maybe you never used to be." It just fucking destroys me because it's his whole world is being shaken. You know, it's not just as simple as, you know, oh God, maybe you weren't as nice as I thought. Like, how long have you fucking hated me? You know, how long have I been existing in living with you, not knowing that you despised me and not knowing that you were actually a piece of shit, you know?
And then the whole April Fool's, like, where he
heartbreaking.
thinks it's all a joke. He's like, oh my God, oh, it's April. Like, how?
I only just noticed what month it changed to yesterday.
And no,
it's April.
Yeah,
you know, and he like reminds him. He's like, it is April. You know, and like you could see him kind of like the walls. Like, there's just so many layers of performance that he's doing here. Where like the slow chipping away at his morale, his spirit. The way that like the movie literally kicks off with him walking under a rainbow with a full smile on his face.
That's true. That was very beautiful. That was almost a shot. I mean, almost it was off rip. I'm like, man, do I already have it? I'm like, that's kind of nuts. And yeah, I mean, I think that's visually. I mean, I'm pleased for.
Ooh, yeah, gorgeous
the whole time, and that's I don't know. I love. I guess Ireland is just. I got to go there.
Ireland.
Eventually, I got to see this with my own eyeballs.
Have you ever heard of the meme or like the running joke, ongoing joke that's been going on for a while that Iowa Debris is Irish?
Iowa
The
Debris.
Ayoedebiri. She was in The Bear, Bottoms. I don't know if you would have seen her in anything. But
okay.
She won an Emmy. There's all these sort
Irish.
But yeah, no. The thing is that at a red carpet she once told somebody that she played Jenny the donkey. And she was like I was on all fours for 4 months, and she's doing like a really thick Irish accent, and she's like, and I got really into character, and it's extremely funny, because like
What?
obviously that's just a real fucking donkey. She like definitely didn't play the fucking donkey, but like it's hysterical that like that was and now it's like she like St. Patrick's Day this year, everyone was tweeting pictures of like Cillian Murphy, Colin Farrell, Paul Mescal, Iowa Debris. You know, like it's like yeah,
oh, that's
no,
incredible.
The running joke now is that she is Irish because she played Jenny the donkey
My newest
in the Banshees of
favorite Irish
Inisherin.
person. Yeah,
I have a
new.
She's outstanding.
I didn't know, but I had a new favorite Irish person. I thought it was
Yeah.
Cillian. Cillian was kind of at the top of the list for quite a while, but there's a new queen in town. That's awesome.
I love me some Colin Farrell, man. He's as far as Irish actors are concerned,
Okay.
I think I'm partial to Colin Farrell.
There we go.
I do love me some Cillian Murphy though.
He's proud in his Irishness too. I mean, he loves his being Irish. You know, I might.
Sometimes a side chick ain't a side chick. It's just the proud and wonderful nation of Ireland.
Yeah,
It's one of my favorite memes of all time. I have no idea why it exists.
So maybe I'm switching my character to
Jenny the donkey.
Yeah, Jenny the donkey. I had no clue, but I think I will actually go with Dominic Barry Keoghan. Did I?
Yep.
I did it. Okay. But yeah, I mean, I think it's. I mean that's just another tragic layer to this movie is. I don't. He seems that he kind of likes the pain a little bit at some points, but then like clearly, like it's just like maybe he's just like I think it's just what
coping.
he tells himself. Yeah, it's just what he tells himself. And man, it was just rough to watch him go through. I thought there was at least going to be some happy ending. I thought it was going to be like you know, I didn't think of the age gap, but it felt like one friend is clearly kind of out, and there's really no. I don't know if there's any fix in that, but there's a new replacement that, and they seem pretty chill and pretty good for each other. I don't know. You know, Dominic's got some things to work on, but just it's not really his fault.
No, not absolutely not. And this movie is a semi-rewarding rewatch because it's intensely more sad, which is
really
it makes you feel the movie a lot more. No, just because you know what's coming. You know what you're barreling towards, and it makes that last interaction between him and Siobhan awful. Like it makes it. When he goes, well, there goes that dream. It's utterly fucking devastating because I'm fairly certain this interaction isn't why he kills himself. This interaction was his lifeline. It was like, well, if she'll go for it, then I'll stick around. You know, like and then he even asks, you know, like not even when I'm your age. You know, like not even if I continue to exist to the point where I am your age, you know?
Damn.
Oh, dude, it's fucking devastating. And just watching the trickle-down effect that happens because of Colm, you know? Like he, you know, obviously Dominic is getting beaten at home and Podrick even makes the allegation of molestation, possibly, which him being like, I never told him that. He just kind of said that. And so like he was pushing through all of this, and he was in relatively high spirits the whole fucking movie. You know, like he was good to go. It's after that interaction with Podrick, whenever he's like, oh, I thought you were different. I thought you were better than them. You know, everything is worse, and it's because Colin was doing this to him, and he is in turn doing it to Dominic, and everything, like everybody's world is getting shaken. Siobhan is leaving. Everything is going downhill for everybody, and it's devastating, man. It's really sad to watch.
Kind of just like a what not to do movie, you know?
Yeah.
It's just like, look how bad it can get, you know? And like, there's not even, like, yeah, I don't know. It's not really happy at the end.
Siobhan gets a happy ending.
That's true. That is true. I don't know. Did we get a check-in? I feel like there was a letter that we heard reading of her, like, just being like, it's fucking awesome out here.
It rules over here. I have a house. You could have your own room, you know, like, come on through. And he's like, no, I'm good. This is my home.
I'm going to go burn down a house. I'm going to go try to kill Colm real quick.
My best friend.
I'll be right back. And
he acts like Jenny's still alive in the letter and stuff, and it's just like, oh, dude, like, and again, there's just there's this really cool stuff that, I mean, this screenplay is razor fucking sharp. It is so fucking well written, and it is so well performed that even as Podrick is devolving to the point where he is willing to burn down the house, he tells him, he tells Colm, I'm going to burn down your house tomorrow. Make sure your dog's outside. I don't have any problem with that. But it doesn't matter if you're inside or not. I'm not checking.
Yeah. He did say that.
And
he
can't help himself. He wants to make sure, like, he has to make sure, like, he can't not do, and like, so there's just this really interesting layer where they all feel like they've been forced into a situation that they've kind of created. And there's these gleaming moments where they show you have the choice to not do that, like, there's tons of moments with Colm where he shows that he's still at heart a good guy. Like, there's whenever the policeman punches him and he gives him the ride home, and dude, whenever he starts breaking down on the wagon because he wants to talk to him about it so bad and he can't, he's like the only person he'd be able to, and he gets off and walks a separate way. Devastating. And it's just like whenever he again knocks the policeman out later in the movie, whenever he's like, go easy on the kid, his donkey just died. And he lays into him and he uppercuts him and he's like, see you tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah, clean.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to take it's like he had the Notre Dame thing going on. He had the Fighting Irish, the uppercut there.
What's the word? Rowan? Are you Rowan?
Rowan.
You're
Rowan?
Rowan?
You're Rowan?
Rowan? Yeah, are you?
Yeah.
Well, are you Rowan? Yeah, I think Rowan.
I didn't think we were Rowan.
No, well, obviously you're Rowan. He's sitting outside. He's sitting out.
Maybe
on the other team.
Maybe we're Rowan.
Like,
yeah. No, I love it.
I guess we're Rowan. And it's
Colm not with you. He's like, no, not today. What's he doing? He's just sitting there.
Colm's always with you,
smoking. Yeah.
He's like, huh? I don't know. It would be nice to have this simple life almost, but then also it does seem quite lonely. I don't know. It lonely, but it is. I don't know. It is a weird mix because you do have all these people that you do see every day, but like, I don't know.
And that's the thing, is that it feels like it could be. It's a perfect place to exist for certain people. It was a perfect place to exist for Podrick, as long as he had the people he loved. It's not the perfect place for Siobhan to exist, and she makes that clear. She obviously is having a tough time, which, when it stops being the perfect place for her to live, it stops being the perfect place for Podrick to live. And so, like, there's a codependency to living in an environment like that. If anything changes, shit's going to get worse. And, like, there's an obvious, flagrant, massive change that trickles down to affect pretty much fucking everybody.
Yeah, I was worried for Siobhan. Whenever, like, she was leaving... Or I thought it was leaving. I thought that she was just saying she was leaving, and this, she was leaving for good. Is what I thought, and I was really, really worried. And yeah, that was nice to hear that she did get out, and she's, where did she go? I guess I didn't.
Yeah, just the mainland.
Where?
She's
okay.
Yeah,
so just,
yeah, like
somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, probably Ireland. I think it's in Ireland.
So they're just on an island off the coast of Ireland?
Yes, Inisherin, a very tiny island.
Okay.
Okay. It's based on a real island. I can't remember if Inisherin is the real name of it.
I guess I thought that they were just referring to the island of Ireland, like itself, like the whole thing. But I guess I thought that they were just on the coast.
It was.
No, not
Inisherin is not a real place, but the filming did take place on 2 different islands off the coast of Ireland.
Okay.
Or in Ireland, because Ireland itself, I'm pretty sure, is a giant island.
Yeah, that's why I thought that they were just referring to Ireland the whole time. I don't know. I guess, but that does make sense. They do. I don't think people in Ireland refer to it as an island. That doesn't seem
right.
That doesn't seem right. I don't know if because what this was they were going through civil war. Like what I guess what year does this take place? Like what year is this actual Ireland history like civil war?
The Irish Civil War happened between. I mean, it went on for a while, but 1920s, early 1920s.
Okay. Yeah, I guess
which is about right. That's what it seems like this movie takes place in. And I appreciate the backdrop that the movie has, like that they in theory have everything they need. They aren't a part of the war-torn conflict. They are not affected by it. Right across the sea, they can see cannon fire. They can see all this stuff. And, he even delivers that line. He's like, good luck, whatever you're fighting for. Like they're so out of the loop. Like they do not know really what's going on over there. They don't know why anything's happening. They don't. And so it's just really, really interesting to watch that be the backdrop. And I think they might be making a point, too, about how it's not obviously explicitly anti-war, but how, you exist on an island and you can hear war and you can see war happening every day. Perhaps it affects you on some level, I'm assuming. Perhaps there is a little bit of a layer there where it's like Colm couldn't ignore it. There's just a general dread about what's going on. What's the term the priest asks him? How's your
despair? Maybe
despair. Yes, despair. And the way he's, haven't had it in a while, and then at the end, whenever he's like, yeah, it's back. It's so sad, man. Like it's just devastating. And
and that priest actually going off on him that one time.
Yeah, like, you're all fecked. You're absolutely fecked.
All right, next person. Come on in.
Come on in. Yeah.
So, I mean, there's...
Oh, and Colm drops some fucking bombs in that last interaction with the priest. Like, one of my favorites is whenever he's like, I know it's not technically a sin, but I killed a miniature donkey, and I didn't mean to, but, I still feel awful guilty about it. And the priest is like, do you really think God gives a damn about miniature donkeys? And he goes, I fear he doesn't. And I fear that's where everything went wrong.
That's where you fear everything went wrong. It's kind of funny for the priest there. It is they do kind of get a good jab in, but no, that was a good line. I forgot about that one.
I fear he doesn't give a shit about the miniature donkey, and I fear that's where it's all gone wrong. And that's, I mean, like, yeah, valid, bro. Like that is devastating. I mean, like another one that he gives there at the end was if punching a policeman is a sin, we might as well pack it up and go home.
That was a bar. That was a bar. I guess no one's above, no. Everyone needs a good punch in the face every now and then, I guess.
Sometimes
it's just a nice wake up call. Never a true as hard as someone could punch me in the face. I've gotten one though. I've gotten a good connection.
Good clock.
And yeah, that reminds you real quick.
Whoa. Don't love that. Don't love the way that feels.
Yeah, it's also like people do that for a profession. They do that on purpose to repeatedly get hit in the head. Like it's like what those guys are just
built different.
My skull, I guess, just isn't as strong. But no. Colm could deliver a nice uppercut. I mean, I wonder what this dude's past is. I mean, he's all I know him as is the creepy eyeball Harry Potter professor. Um,
He was in Gangs of New York.
mm,
He was the dude who recognizes
that's
Leonardo
right.
DiCaprio first. He
Isn't he
has like
actually
the
a
big.
homie? Like
Yeah,
in
he's
that
cool as
one?
fuck.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's the
he's
sheriff, maybe, or he.
he becomes the sheriff. He gets shot in the back and stuff. You remember all that? Like
Oh my god!
he's like a
Yeah,
naturally gifted at it. At the
yeah.
beginning though, he's like a mercenary who's only like Liam Neeson paid him to fight, and when he dies, he gets his money from him and stuff. Like so. Yeah, I mean Brendan Gleeson's been around the block. He's been in a lot
Okay,
of really good
that's
stuff.
right.
This exact directorial and main actor duo has done other things too. Martin McDonagh also made In Bruges, which is I think it's a bit more focused on the comedic side of things. At least that's what I can gather from what I've heard about the movie. I've never watched it, but yeah, they connected together on that one.
Interesting. Yeah.
McDonagh also did 3 Billboards Outside of Ebbing, Missouri, which was very critically well received a couple years back. It had Frances McDormand and I believe Woody Harrelson, a great cast on it.
Yeah, he's got
So yeah,
Cavalry. I guess I don't know. It's 7.5 on IMDb. Got Aidan Gillen in there. The only guy I recognize. But
I've heard 7 Psychopaths is pretty good. That's Colin Farrell, Woody Harrelson, Sam Rockwell, Christopher Walken.
okay, yeah.
Pretty Harry Dean Stanton. Pretty strong cast there.
Brendan Gleeson.
Yeah, no. So
was there a family relation?
yes, there is. Yes, there is. You'll know his son, Domhnall Gleeson, as Admiral Hux in the sequel trilogy.
A true Nepo baby.
Yes,
in the
indeed.
game. Okay, wow.
And his other son actually played one of the First Order operatives in The Mandalorian. He plays one of the people on the council that Moff Gideon talks to, which is Hux's dad, but it's actually Domhnall Gleeson's brother playing his dad.
That's pretty sweet.
That's very cool.
Okay, okay, pretty sweet. Wow, pretty. Yeah, I guess if it's in the family, I don't know. It makes sense. You're much more likely to do whatever your parents did, just statistically. And I guess acting, I remember, was pretty high on the list. There was a statistic on that. President is number 1 because there's only been 46 of them. So whenever there has been a father-son pair, 1 or 2 out of 46 is quite high on the total population.
Right.
But an actor was actually pretty high up. When you take president out,
yeah, no, I mean that makes
up.
sense. Brendan Gleeson's been around. I love me some Brendan Gleeson too. He played one of the more fun characters in Paddington 2. I love Paddington 2. He's great in that too.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, he's a fantastic actor, and definitely he obviously plays like one mode in this movie. For the most part, there's nuance there. There's a little bit of a flare-up of emotion every once in a while. But, and I think that because Colin Farrell has a lot more to do and Kerry Condon has a lot more to do and Barry Keoghan's doing a much different character than who he seems to be, that Brendan Gleeson kind of flies under the radar here. But he's exceedingly good in this movie. Yeah, this got some, if I recall correctly, this got some nominees at the Oscars.
It did. Nominated for 1, I guess. But
nominated for 9.
Why does it always say that? Nominated. It says, that's Brendan Gleeson. I'm on Brendan Gleeson's page. Okay.
Yeah. They got a nomination. Went 0 for 9, which sucks, but got nominated for Best Supporting Actor or Best Supporting Actress for Kerry Condon. Got Best Lead Actor for Colin Farrell. Best score, which was beautiful. Fucking loved the score in this movie. Best Picture, Best Direction, 2 Best Supporting Actor roles from Brendan Gleeson and Barry Keoghan, Best Screenplay and Best Editing. Nominated for all of those things, and it really sucks it didn't take home a single one of those.
Damn. Well, the Kansas City Film Critics Circle Award. We nominated it for quite a lot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7
Okay.
We gave it 1 win, and it was Colin Farrell for Best Actor.
Fuck yeah, we get him.
Mm-hmm.
We get him.
So that's cool. And they do apparently they do second places because Brendan Gleeson got second place for Best Supporting Actor that year. I don't know who did get first, but yeah.
Yeah, it looks like Martin McDonagh got second place for Best Original Screenplay.
Yeah, that's interesting. They do second places. That could be. That's interesting if the if the Oscars were to give like a runner up.
Yeah, I'd be
might be a little cheese though. I don't know. I feel like that could be. I don't know.
Yeah, you know,
like
it's like I'd be kind of like, well,
or like a.
Well, it's also like, well, fuck you. You know, like just put us all on the same playing
That's true.
field.
It would kind of suck to be the runner-up rather than just
right.
a nominee that didn't
right.
win at all. So yeah, that would be a little worse. But the Academy, it's the Academy.
The fucking Academy.
Come on now.
Yeah,
yeah. But get out of here.
No, I love this movie, man, and I think that it's intensely moving. It makes me indelibly sad, just so sad. So I did need a palate cleanser afterwards. So I watched some episodes of Rebels, which is good. But
that'll do it.
Yeah, no, it's oh man, yeah, no, but so good, and one of those ones that I do own on Blu-ray, and it's nice to nice to know I have that there. It certainly won't be the last time I watch this movie, you know, and I think that's valuable.
The physical tier, for sure. This one's visually it's just beautiful enough. And yeah, this Scene in the Rain was like a rainy day when you needed a comfort, like ultimate comfort. This is, I don't know, you have to be in a good spot to watch this.
Yeah, right.
It can't really be a rainy day and you're already down. It's like, oh, well, man.
I don't know. I remember when I was in the midst of a depressive episode.
You think did it help? Or did it make it worse?
I didn't watch this when I was in the midst of a depressive episode. I just meant that in general, when I was in the midst of a depressive episode, some of that, for me, there was almost a comfort that someone was able to write something about it. You know? Like someone was able to put feelings like that on screen, and it's kind of a reaffirming that you're not the first person
alone.
Who's felt that way, you know?
Yeah. Okay, I see that. Yeah, maybe. You never know. It's maybe just a cautious one to look out for whenever you're feeling sad, but no, it's got to be...
I'd say if you're, like I luckily never had any trigger warnings, suicidal thoughts or feelings like I should self-harm or anything. So that was never, that might be a line you want to draw in the sand for this one. Yeah. I'm like, so,
because they play with the idea, I guess, a whole lot, like there's just the doll like hanging in Colm's house. Like I feel like they focus on that a lot and give you the idea. Like whenever he walks out early to go to the bar or the pub, and you're in the back of your mind you're thinking like he's gonna look out the window and see him on a tree or hanging somewhere. I mean, there's not many trees around there actually. I don't. Yeah, what is there other than just the stone walls of the roads and the pub and their houses? Is there a single other building other than the pub?
Yeah, I think they insinuate that there is. That's just where this mostly takes place.
No, there's a little town and the news and the post office. Okay, yeah, I'm just whatever. But that's maybe.
But it's walking distance. They don't have to do anything. Like, I mean, they take their horses, but like,
and they only go into town when they really need to. And it's barely for anything. Maybe it's more on purpose to make it feel like like they are really alone in that they do have a town, but they don't even really go into town. And and even whenever like
they're each on their own island.
Yeah, that is true. And then the shot of Podrick and Is it Chabon? I don't know. I don't know why. Like,
Chabon?
Chabon. I don't know why it's just the looking at it just makes it harder for me.
It's a weird. It's like
Ireland,
you know,
man.
Saoirse Ronan is Irish. That's another good Irish actor.
Mm.
But you look at the name Saoirse and you go, that's
not-
Swarsea
yeah,
or
that's not
Soursey
Saoirse.
or something. You
And
know,
even
like,
Podrick here. You know, this
yeah,
is
Padraic.
Podrick. You know,
Yeah.
like
Podrick.
Dominic. Thank you. You know, I don't know. Simple. That's. I mean, maybe it's just my American brain. It's just simple there. But
I mean, Calm's name was Calm Sonny Larry.
that's true. Calm Sonny Larry. Yeah. Is that one?
It was all one name.
So, wow. That's on his birth certificate. That's his first name. You know,
I'm
that's
assuming. I don't know. But the way they put it in the subtitles, it's like Calm.
It is.
No space, Sonny. No space, Larry.
It's not like his last name is Larry, and they're just saying like his three names.
His last name is Doherty.
Okay, so
yeah, we know his last name too. So it's like, I don't know.
Call him Sonny Larry Doherty, or he's got another middle name in there somewhere, maybe too.
He could.
Fucking
yeah, no, but
wow.
I do love the names. I do.
I was trying to make a point there. For I don't know what it was, but I just fucked up on
a shot
no.
of
them
Siobhan
sleeping,
and
that's right. Whenever she's just breaking and she's just crying,
yeah,
and then or Podrick wakes up
okay?
and he's like, yeah, well, like what's wrong or what's the matter? And it's like nothing, and
nothing.
He's just like, it's like
okay.
It's like, what do you really do? You know, like that. I don't. And he just, I don't know. There was like a clear moment before, like whenever it's like, hey, what book you read? He's like, oh, a sad one. You know, like a sad one, and it's like, oh, you should read a happier book, maybe. I don't know, you might feel happier. He's like, okay, you know, whatever. But you ever get lonely? You know? And he's like, what the fuck?
What the fuck
and
is
just,
up with everybody?
Yeah, and
lately?
then just leaves. And I was like,
lonely, goddamn, you know. And he's like, no, it's
maybe that's...
well, and there's. I think that might be. Is that the same? It probably is the same moment because there is like when he says that the desire to be intelligent is really, really strong with him. And he says, you know, oh, maybe you read something happier. It won't make you so sad. And she just kind of goes, thanks. And he like goes, he like gets ready. Like he's like, that's right.
Like
I'm an intelligent motherfucker.
That was easy.
I know.
Yeah,
I know that things that are sad will make you sad, and things that are happy might not. You know.
Oh my god. Oh, and whenever one finger's already off, and he's like actually thinking of going back, he's like, "Well, I got to go give it back to him.
I got to take it."
She's like,
"Are you feckin' stupid?
Feckin' stupid? Just feckin'." Oh man, oh, it's so good.
What the feck?
She's she's nice to him for the most part. But then she was just like, really? Come on.
Whenever the next day, after he's done the whole, I loved me mom. She was nice. I remember her. You know, and he gets to Siobhan and stuff. And then the next day, he's like, how bad was I? And she's like, you weren't bad at all. You were lovely. And he was like, well, thanks, but I don't really feel that way. And he's like, and how's there to be anything else about you? You know, like, and it's the movie gives you nothing ever to think that there is anything wrong with Siobhan, which is very, very cool in terms of just like everybody's got a character quirk where they're like, okay, well, you shouldn't do that. You know, you probably should. Siobhan doesn't have a single one of those.
Nope.
And it's almost like she deserves the solace of leaving at the end. It's not a detriment to her character that she leaves her brother. In fact, she's more than earned that. You know, she's gotten to that place where she can afford to do that, and she feels she's done everything she can, and she's good. It's time to go. And I think that's great. I love me some Siobhan. I loved Carrie Condon in the role. Carrie Condon is also an MCU vet. Actually, you wouldn't recognize her face. You might recognize her voice, as she is Friday, the operating system in Tony Stark's suits in the later movies.
Wow. Huh. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love me some Paul Bettany. I love me some Jarvis. You know, the successor, pretty cool too. You got some great characters. Maybe I don't know. I do like kind of the at least it was my gut character that I thought to go with immediately. Wanted to spread some love and give Dominic, just some light. You know, the dude deserves something. He didn't get a happy ending, so at least he can get a character nod for the movie.
Right.
I'll give him that, because I guess that was.
I'll throw some love on John Joe, the bartender.
Yeah,
Good guy. Good guy, steady guy.
Yeah.
You know, tries his best to appease everybody. Nobody's got beef with John Joe, you know.
Yeah. I mean, don't bite the hand that feeds you, especially when it's your beer, you know, where you're at. That's important.
It's the only. It seems like the only pub on the island. Everybody's got to love John Joe, you know, like.
Yeah, that's, man. I mean, it's just part of your day. You have to go drink beer. If not, something is wrong. Like that's awesome. That is, you are expected to
Call
be
him
at
up with
the
you.
pub. Yeah,
you know. And whenever he's walking back, and after he's been like, "How about we go down to the pub later, grab a sherry or something?" And she's like, "Yeah, you know, that sounds great," you know. And he's on his way back, and she's like, "I thought we were getting a sherry." He's like, "I don't feel like it." And she's like, "I'm fucking tired of this shit." And she like runs down to Colm's house. Oh, dude, yeah, you're all boring. You're all fucking boring. That's one of my favorite line deliveries ever. And yeah, no, man. I love the movie, though. I love the movie, and I thought that it was, 2022 was an incredible year for movies. Yeah. As far as the movies that I watched and loved, the top of the barrel, it's not like a super deep list. You know, I think 2023 had like you're going 20 deep, and we're talking about fucking great movies. You know, we're talking probably 10. If that with 2022, but the top of that list is fucking strong. You got Everything Everywhere All at Once, and Banshees of Inisherin, and The Fabelmans, and Tar, Nope, Batman. You know, like RRR, yes,
Babylon,
yes.
Avatar: Way of Water,
Top Gun Maverick.
Yeah, and that's. Yeah, the rest I have, I wouldn't quite. Maybe The Menu. The Menu, I you know, it's maybe not top tier.
I wouldn't put it up there.
Yeah,
it's strong.
It's better than, like, I don't know, Thor: Love and Thunder. That's on this list, you know, or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's 2023. That's
It was an unreasonably good year.
Stacked.
Yeah. Elvis was 2022 also. I liked that movie a lot.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Do you have anything else to say on the Banshees of Inisherin here?
We've covered all the favorites, and I think, I don't know, just very slower movie, so it's kind of hard to think of if we've covered every scene, because it's just such intricate moments and stuff. But yeah,
intensely intimate. Like, it's just so, every scene is just so personal and so poignant. And I think that the middle is a long trek. You know, the first act sets up really well. You get there quick. But I think that the middle is purposefully, like, that's how it's supposed to. It'd be wrong if this movie flew past you.
Yeah.
You know, like,
their
it'd
lives
be like,
are very slow. Like, it is what, I don't know. I think it's as close to life as they could get. And yeah, I don't know, very beautiful movie. I don't know. I did not expect it to be quite like this. I don't know what I was expecting, but I don't know. I haven't seen many movies like this that are so just melancholic, but leave me not feeling really sad at the end. Like, I don't know. It's like I do come away.
And I think that the ending of this movie is bizarre because it is sad. It's really devastating. You know, it's sad that Colin Farrell has devolved to this point. Podrick is, you know, like, some things can't be forgiven, and I think that's okay. You know, like, and I think that's a really important line, you know, like and I think that's okay. I think there is at least a sense of peace it's no longer discontent for him. There was like what fueled this whole movie was him trying to get it back, trying to figure out what he did, trying to be something he's not. And then at the end of the movie, he just goes, "Fuck it, man. Okay." You know, like, and I think that's,
it's like
there's
not
almost
being a reason is almost worse. You know, it's kind of like that horror with behind the door and you don't know what's there. It's like if there's not a reason as to why someone doesn't like you, you know, that's just like,
no, yeah. And
well,
like,
damn, man.
When it comes to like relationships, it really sucks to be cheated on. But if you out of the blue get broken up with and you have no idea why,
that's worse, honestly.
I would say that's worse too, you know. And obviously, there's a betrayal layer to the, and like, so it's just kind of like there's a whole other side of things where it's like, at least there's something I can point to and go, "Yep, this wasn't going to work." Without that, you go, maybe it could have though. What happened? What happened there? You know, like it's just so like it's there not being a tangible thing for him to glom onto. Does make it a lot worse. If they'd had a blow up, if they'd had a fight, and that was it, it'd be easier for him to go, okay, yeah, we're rowing. You know, like, you know, it, and that's,
he didn't think they were rowing. He did not think, you know, in that last little, anytime, you know, the little choke up that he get, you know, like, you know, if you ever need to watch the dog, I don't know, something like about watching the dog, and it's like, you know, anytime.
Thanks for watching my dog for me. And he's like, anytime.
Oh,
and, dude, and that's just like another one of those lines that was just so sweet whenever he, you know, walks past the old lady who's like, "Don't go killing his dog now," and he's like, "Why the fuck would you say that?"
Come on, I know I do want to kill him and all, but whatever. But
yeah,
I
and
never
he gets there
the
and he sits in the chair with the shears and the dog's laying at his feet, and he like picks them up for a second, and then he puts them down and he pets them, and he's like, he says, "Why would I hurt you for? You're the only thing nice about him." And it's just it's so sad when he walks in there and he's dancing with his dog and stuff, you know, and he tries to, you know, be the dickhead. He's trying to get him back. It's the last interaction that causes the rest of the fingers to come off. But it's just, it's so funny also that there's like nothing he can do to treat that. He's just bleeding everywhere the rest of the movie. He's at the pub, like in front of him is spattered with blood.
His violin and the whole table and just like everything is, it's just gross.
Because he's fucking...
Homie's still thinking he's like playing somehow. I don't know. He's like, well, if I hold it up close enough to the music, it might start vibrating and playing the same stuff. I don't know. But yeah, he's a little bit, I don't know. I think the loss of blood.
That's what I'm taking that scene as. He's conducting the students. He's telling them what to do.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. Yeah, he's doing great. You're doing great. Call him.
Call him. Yeah, no. But I do enjoy the movie a great deal, even though it is so fucking sad and so melancholic. It is so funny at a lot of points. It is terribly fucking hysterical in a way that just makes you go like, oh. One last devastating detail that it was the first time I'd ever caught it. I found this stick with a hook on the end of it. What do you think it's for?
Oh, wait
it's
a
what
minute.
They pull. That's what they pull him out of the river with, or out of the lake with. Hooking something that's about a stick's length away. Dude, fucked me up. I was like, that's why I'm like, the beginning is loaded with lines that have double meanings. And
that rewatch is gonna go. I see what you mean about it being sadder. I was like, what? I'm like, what? I'm like,
obviously the unexpected, oh no, is terrible. But then like the knowing it's coming and watching every step along the way is almost worse.
I'll have to wait a little bit, or I guess I'm getting Star Wars, so some new Star Wars, so maybe I'll feel okay enough to watch it again. But
there you go.
I know, but all these new movies that I'm getting,
dude,
no complaints.
We've been on a run. Cinema Surprise has been a stellar time, and it's so sad that season 1 will be concluding next week. However, good news is, we've been alluding to it, we will be doing a season 2. That won't be for a few months, but it's not too long of a wait. And in the meantime, we are going to have some special episodes in between. You know, we're going to tide you over. We're not going to make you wait months for new Cinema Surprise. You can stick with us. Now, when they're coming, I won't tell you. What we're covering, I won't tell you. That's the surprise. They'll just be there one day. You know, they'll just be, oh shit, new episode. You know, it's yeah, we got a couple lined up between seasons, and I'm very excited. Yeah, next week is the Cinema Surprise season finale, and we'll do the plugs real quick, and after the plugs, we will rate this movie. I will announce what is coming next week for the Cinema Surprise, and I will do an album of the week. But so if you would, head to patreon.com/PennyBloomPod, where you'll find over 50 hours of exclusive content, all sorts of book reviews, comic book reviews, movie reviews, and the like. You can get access to the Penny Bloom Dispatch, which in a couple weeks will no longer be Patreon exclusive. In a couple weeks, that will be becoming what the Penny Bloom podcast is. As you know, we're coming to a close over there with House of the Dragon Season 2 finale being next week. We got the House of the Dragon Season 2 finale next week, the Cinema Surprise finale next week, and then it's Penny Bloom Dispatch time. And you could have been privy to what exactly we're going for there with this with Patreon. It's free on Patreon too. You don't have to pay a subscription fee for that, but for $1.50 a month, you can gain access to our older content and anything else we might be doing besides Penny Bloom Dispatch. That's patreon.com/PennyBloomPod. Head to Twitter, follow @PennyBloomPod. That's where you can find all news regarding anything we might be doing. And you know, when season 2 gets rolling, I'm thinking we might end up making a Twitter for that, but it might be a lot to manage. It's probably still going to be funneled through Penny Bloom Pod. So that's just the safest place to be regarding any of our shows. We've got the Cinementalists starting next month. We're doing the Fulcrum Star Wars podcast. You know, Fire and Bloom is coming to a close next week, but all of that is through Penny Bloom. It's it's kind of a media distribution center essentially at this point. So Twitter @PennyBloomPod. You can follow on Instagram and TikTok @PennyBloomPodcast. You can watch on YouTube. Just look up Penny Bloom Podcast and we're there. Leave a 5-star rate and review wherever you might be listening, especially if you're over on Cinema Surprise exclusively. That would be awesome. The reviews really, really help us. I would really appreciate it. You can share this episode. You can download this episode. Anything helps. We appreciate you. Let's rate the Banshees of Inisherin. On a scale of 1 to 10, enjoyment-wise, where does your gut take you?
Well, it's a different enjoyment, that's for sure. It's not
a happy movie.
But where does it take me? Well, on my list, I plopped it. It's below Babylon right now, but it's above Passion of Joan of Arc. Currently. That places it at 8 for me. I realize I do have Tron and other things at 3 and stuff like that, but I feel like, I guess Joan of Arc was I think a 9 and Babylon was a 9.5. So I don't know if I am just good with like a 9.25. That kind of, I guess, makes sense. It's where my gut took me blindly, but
that's about where my gut takes me to. I didn't realize Babylon we landed on a 9.5. I comfortably like this more than Babylon. So if I was doing a personal rating, I'd put it at 9.5. But I'm cool settling on a 9.25 if you're cool with that. I
think it feels better to me because not 9 feels too low. Like 9 feels a little wrong. But yeah, I don't know if Babylon was the only thing giving me pause of putting it above. But putting it above the 9 mark came pretty easily, and then yeah, I guess Babylon. I think it's more of it just introduced me to a whole different sect and just part of film and history and stuff like that. And it's maybe not the actual movie itself that I like so much. So Babylon's kind of the only one that's kind of floating and stuff, but I feel like
I'm cool with the 9.25 though.
So,
That's very
okay.
strong. I mean, I love the movie, so I'm cool with it being north of 9 as long as that's where you feel it is, because we would have had problems if you didn't.
That's true. No Sumais, I guess.
No Sumais
left.
left.
Been
we would have
bad.
had to. We would have had to have compromised.
but-
That's where we're at now. But yeah, 9.25 enjoyment. I'm cool with that. And critically, I can't imagine taking it any lower than that.
Yeah,
I mean,
Singing in the Rain was a 9.5. I think it's made better than Passion Joan Arc. That was a 9. La Chimera, that's a 9.5. Pretty comparable.
I think La Chimera might be the most comparable movie on the list for it.
I kind of like that.
Yeah, I think that's about the same level as La Chimera there.
Cure was also a 9.5 critically.
Yeah,
the only other 9.5.
9.5.
So
9.5 is right.
It feels it's in that vein. That fits pretty well, which would shake it out to a 94%, 94.2, if you want to get the decimal point in there. But yeah, almost a 95. That's pretty darn good. It's just a little bit lower than Singing in the Rain, at a 96, and La Chimera also at that 96. As well as Cure, but it did beat Arrival at a 91, which I think is the next closest to it. Yeah. So
all right, kick ass. Yeah, I love that. It's fantastic fucking movie, man. It's just so good. I mean, like, how many movies do we have north of 90% out of 11 right now?
One's at 90. So if you're counting that one, Joan of Arc, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7 of them are 90 or above, so doing pretty well.
Damn. Yeah, love that. Love that.
Pretty well.
But yeah, then next week on Cinema Surprise, we're gonna stick with the 20s. I decided I would be covering this movie for the last spot weeks ago. This was something I'd concluded a while back. I absolutely adore it. We're sticking in the year 2022 even. Next week we will be covering The Fabelmans. Okay. I know you had your concerns about it being in the same realm as Singing in the Rain and Babylon, and while you're not completely wrong, you definitely are wrong about what to expect. There's definitely a love for movies that the movie has, but those are much more about making movies in Hollywood. This is not. And it's. I know you were concerned about it not feeling fresh compared to those. I promise it will.
Awesome.
Guarantee you it will.
That's awesome. So even if I did take it last week, you would have had to completely.
I would have had to have shifted my plans.
Okay.
Yeah, that's something that I've decided for a while. The Fabelmans would be the last movie we covered because I concluded I was going to pick half 20s movies, half not 20s movies. And when I look at my favorite 20s movies, this is easily top 5.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I like it more than Babylon. I like it more than Banshees of Inisherin comfortably.
Okay. That's
so
very
that's
good
why
news.
I'm very excited. I definitely like it more than actually any 20s movie we've covered so far. So like it's damn good. And I'm excited to hear what you think.
Yeah,
I'm excited to hear what you think about it.
Well, I was ready to cover it myself, so I'm definitely okay with it.
That's why last week, if you are a returning listener and you like watched me react to him announcing his movie, I didn't really, because I was trying to contain any reaction. Specifically when you started listing your potential options, I just kind of went like this.
Wow, yeah.
Like just kind of looked away.
One of them was there.
One of them was the idea. So yeah, if you had gone with Fabelmans, I would have shifted. I would have picked something up. I would have done something else. If you had picked Fabelmans, I probably wouldn't have done a 20s movie. I probably would have done something further back. But yep, Fabelmans is how we will be concluding season 1 of Cinema Surprise, and I'm super excited for it. I think it's a fitting end for the series, for the season, and I'm very excited. And definitely tonally It'll feel like a better send off than the Banshees of Inisherin.
Hopefully, I sure hope so.
Not that this movie doesn't have its share of emotionally damaging moments, but there's tonally it's not as just like fuck everything's bad, you know. But yeah, so Fabelmans next week to conclude season 1 of Cinema Surprise, and with that, I will give you my album of the week. Something light, something simple. The Soul album by Otis Redding. Otis Redding is one of the fucking greatest. One of the greatest singer-songwriters of all time. You've almost certainly heard Dock of the Bay. That's one of the most famous songs of all time. That's not on this album, but the big hit from this one is Cigarettes and Coffee. It's absolutely fantastic. Definitely. And if you haven't listened to any Otis Redding, there's literally not a bad spot to go to. You could pick any Otis Redding album and it will be good. That's just one of the greatest artists there's ever been. And the Soul album is fucking incredible. I love Cigarettes and Coffee. I love Chain Gang. That's a really, really good song. There's just top to bottom, easy listens, only about 30 to 35 minutes typically for an Otis Redding album. There's just so much good stuff here. Everybody makes a mistake. 6, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9. The outro is really, really good. It's just top to bottom, good fucking album. The Soul album, Otis Redding. That's the album of the week. And
it was from you. Okay. I was like, I've been recommended Otis Redding before by someone, and it was from you. Okay, it's on your playlist. Yeah. So, okay, that makes sense. It was bugging me. I was trying to find
it. No, I think I recommended you Dock of the Bay because that is my favorite Otis Redding album because Dock of the Bay is just a deeply special song and actually probably would have been a little bit more relevant to Banshees of Inisherin. It's a pretty sad, lonesome song. Sitting here, resting my bones.
It was
this loneliness won't leave me alone. Yeah, it's really, really strong. So any Otis Redding, you've definitely heard Otis by Jay-Z and Kanye, where they sample Otis Redding.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's it's a big one.
There we go. Okay, maybe.
Like the whole sound so soulful, don't you agree? Like the whole build up in the intro is Otis Redding. So
to some Otis Redding then. That's for sure.
Oh God, so. Everybody has to listen to some Otis Redding. It's required listening. With that, we will conclude this episode of the Penny Bloom Podcast and Cinema Surprise. I'm Colton Robertson. I was joined by Joseph George. Thank you very much, homie.
Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to be here.
Oh, and it's always a pleasure to have you. And remember, peace, love, and bloom. And oh God, maybe you never used to be.